What's good, Eagles, Galaxy, Universe, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, all that good stuff. So we're knee deep in free agency. Got a lot of things that happen with the Eagles. Departures, incoming players, thoughts on it, the state of the team at the moment. Of course, we have a separate conversation between now and the draft about the draft. But for this week, we're going to focus on free agency. So we're gonna focus on the goings in free agency, and then we're gonna talk about the comings as well. Whole lot of both, but that's what happens when you have a Super Bowl caliber team and you have a lot of 1 year pieces that you sign just to try to get that Lombardi that we just fell a little short of. Obviously I have my personal opinions as to one of the reasons, and it was those people in supposed to be black and white stripes, but it felt like they were in Chiefs red or burgundy, whatever they call that color, and gold, as well as the white stripes. But I digress. Um, so tonight we have a special guest. Y'all have seen him before. My guy AC, the big dog
Yo,
himself. Uh,
OG Big Dog. OG Big Dog in the house, but it's still flying high. I'm still optimistic, man. We still flying. We still in this building, brother.
all day. And then also we have the Eagles diva checking in
What's
with
going on,
us.
Bird Gang?
What's going on, y'all?
Ah, ah, ah.
All that good stuff. So we know, y'all, we've had a lot of departures in free agency, as well as a lot of people that have come to the team. But want to talk about um, the departures. Is there any departure before we get to list any one departure that sticks out to you guys?
Hargraves going to San Francisco was kind of like um, it hurt a little bit, but at the same time, that's why you drafted the big kid from Georgia Davis because you
Yep.
had a feeling this was coming. I mean, I'm surprised we still got Cox and a couple other guys that were at the moment in their careers where this might be their last paycheck before you go to veteran minimums like 1 year deals here and there, which kind of gets kind of like, well, this is it. So just seeing Hargraves going to get paid, I can't get mad because it's a business, and every year you kind of look at what you have, and I'm more concerned about our secondary and our linebackers. I think our D line was three deep, three, you know, first string, second string was solid, and you had a couple guys and Dominican Sue and them guys down there. So D line depth is always great as long as our offense is straight, defensive line is straight. I think we'll be fine. That's why I'm not that hard pressed for Hargrave leaving. But that's the one notable guy. I was like, okay, we got to replace him. That means Davis got to get his act together because that's why we drafted him so high that he could come in and play a big role this year.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. So Eagles diva, anyone stick out to you before we get started?
I mean, Hargrave was a huge loss, like a huge, huge loss. That did hurt. Um, Other than that, no, not really. CJGJ was a little surprised, but like after the whole story unfolded, then
Yeah, that's a great place for us to start. That's a wonderful place to start. So Chauncey Gardner Johnson, oh CJGJ himself. But before we get to that, got a couple of comments. What's up, Philly Philly? She says, "What's up, Bird Gang?" And
Ah,
what's up? And their birthday.
yep, yep. And also, I'll be bleeding green. I'll, I guess, I'll be bleeding green. Eagles green missing football. I definitely understand that as well. And you are not alone. Um, so with CJGJ, Chauncey Gardner Johnson, he elected to, trying to put this nicely here. You know what? I'm just gonna be real with it. He elected to turn down a contract. We can, you know, chop up the numbers if y'all want. Don't really care about the numbers. He elected to um, decline a contract extension with the Eagles that would have had gave him a 3 year deal, um, It was less money in the first 2 years, which is because of other cap situations we have going on, but a better deal overall. He elected not to take that. So then at that point, we moved on and started re-signing other guys and making other moves. So then he got an offer from the Lions for 8 million. Came to us and his agent came to us and said, "Hey, you want to match this?" We was like, "Nah, we've already kind of made some moves now. We got things going on, so they didn't match that." So you know, first I'll get y'all thoughts on that part, and then we'll get to the second part.
Go ahead, Diva. That's the one you brought him up. Let's go.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Like, everybody wanted him. We really tried to do what we could to keep him. Like, we basically was like, all right, Slade, you got to go. And we got rid of a lot of people to try to franchise tag him. But of course, he's young and he's looking at the numbers. So he was thinking that, oh, let me test free agency. He just seen Jesse Bates get a nice little contract. And I guess he figured because he had one good year. And he was good in the Saints, but he wasn't as good as he was with Philadelphia. Like, what we did fit him and help develop him as well. But he felt like he'd get more money because he had that 12 interception 1 year. And so by the time he realized he wasn't going to get that money, he came back. And we're like, nah, bro, we didn't spend the money. Like, we just signed Fletch. We just signed Kelsey. We just signed Slayback. So, and Bradbury, where he wanted to be. Like, Bradbury could have been like, all right, because at first when he left, like when the Super Bowl ended, he was like, well, I'm not going to play for no more chump change. I want to get paid. So for him to take the deal and say, I want to be here as an Eagle, I like the atmosphere, I like the familiarity, which means he wanted to be here as an Eagle, not just for the money. And so by the time he came back, he was like, nah. So his agent made him believe that him taking that 1 year, $8 million deal is going to get him where he needs to be, or maybe he can get more money next year. But the thing about it is you still would have made more money with Philadelphia. But for what I'm hearing is it was more on the back end. He could have been a cap casualty and could have been cut. And so maybe that's why he didn't take it. But, I mean, bruh, you say you had to do what you had to do for your family. It is what it is. But to me, your agent fumbled the bag. And for y'all to come out and start and saying we switch up. Even AJ said we switched up. And people was like, yo, bro, like, he the one declined the deal. Like, he didn't want to be here. Like, we bleed green. We are loyal to that eagle on that patch, and that's what it is. If you don't want to be here, this is a family thing. You don't want to be here. You want to get paid. So ain't nobody switch up. You switched up on us. So I don't know.
And he went to Detroit. He went to Detroit Sports Deep. I mean, come on. It's the Detroit Lions. Yeah, they're better than they used to be, but that's where players used to go to die. Like Detroit, Cincinnati. There are a few franchises you go to die. And if you're not careful, you never get out of that hole. So, God bless him. I hope he balls out. But safeties are a dime a dozen in my book. If we didn't make any, I mean, watch the Super Bowl game. He made one big hit that last drive, and the ball did not come out. So as you can see, it's a different NFL now, where if you cannot be a ball hawk every year, not one lucky season, that one lucky season they had in New Orleans, and now you come to an environment where we need you to make a play, and all you can bring is this big hits in the league where you can't hit anybody anymore. You're a casualty of war. Can you make plays out there in the open field on the ball, not necessarily making big hits? It's not a hit-driven league anymore. It's a ball-driven league. And, I was glad we got Slay back because that's where we're tender at. And Bradbury, too. I'm glad we have our secondary pieces on the outside. You saw the Cowboys got strong on the outside, bringing in Gilmore. So that's where my focus is on those two corners, and then the inside guys. Just bringing in a guy who hustles, who knows the plays, who's not afraid to make a play on the ball is all we're looking for. So you draft safeties. So I'm thinking we have a few picks in the later rounds. You can find a kid 6'2", 205 that runs a 4.4, get in that scheme and make plays. I don't think, like you said, he just fumbled the bag. When someone's going to give you a little bit more than the going rate, and it's a place where you can win a championship, I don't know what guys really, really want now. because that really wasn't a bag. If they gave him a 1 year deal, like you said, I don't know what he got. 1 year deal to Detroit,
1 year, eight
bruh,
million.
bruh.
Amen.
That is gambling on yourself. Because if you don't ball, if you get hurt, you are now going to be playing for the minimum next year after this season. Because now you got to come out of a dark hole of Detroit. Probably going to be stuck in Detroit looking for a long term deal. And if you believe in Dan Campbell biting ankles and scratching and calling, and I'm going to bite his hip bone off, and if we're going to claw and scratch, all that's hoop de hoop is good. Wrestling talk is good. But at the end of the day, man, it's the Detroit Lions. And I ain't seen a Thanksgiving game yet where they came and brought the wood. So, God bless him. But I think he should have stayed. His opportunity to win championships is a lot greater in Philly. I don't think he has it in Detroit. So, God bless you, brother. Godspeed.
And see, for me, I'm gonna say it this way. So first, what's up, Coach Dante? Thanks for checking us out.
Dante.
Dante,
Now,
Dante.
couple things for me. First of all, you overevaluated your self worth. So you thought you was gonna go out and get, like Eagles Diva said, a Jesse Bates type deal. Scratch that. Not today, not ever. Right?
Ever,
You
ever,
didn't. You
ever,
didn't get
ever.
that. Ever. Then you come back and say, "Hey, I got this deal. Y'all want to match?" And we like, "Bruh, we already told you. We've moved on. We made the offer. We set
Bruh,
everything down for like a week and waited on you.
bruh.
You didn't want to take it, so we moved in a different direction. We good now." Then you go to Detroit, and then you got the nerve to say, "You got the hold up. I'm going to channel somebody I don't channel much." You have the nerve. You have the unmitigated gall.
Girl.
You have the testicular fortitude
Oh, man.
to have the nerve to say the Lions are a more talented team than the Eagles.
Then the 2022 line, you just disrespected everybody on that defense, period. And they made you better. Like, you would not be where you are without them boys behind you, bruh. It wasn't just you. It was not just you.
You don't make statements like that. He gonna be out there looking like Dylan Brooks trying to give his jersey to Kyrie. He gonna be looking real stupid when
So
it don't pan out.
I got one thing I want to say to
you,
Chauncey Gardner
you,
Johnson.
you
Okay,
thought you thought you ain't Kobe. They don't love you like that.
I've got one thing to say to Chauncey Gardner Johnson.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
That's what you need to hear. And while we're on the subject,
The Rock.
there's another guy by the name of Javon Hargrave that you spoke about earlier. He went and got his bag. I ain't mad at you for getting your bag. I appreciate what you brought to the team. Chauncey Gardner Johnson, same for you. But you had the audacity to say that the championship game would have ended differently if Mr. Irrelevant was still in the game. That's what you're gonna say?
That came out of his mouth
That
about the
came out
Eagles
of
versus
that
Hargrave's
came out
mouth.
of Javon Hargrave. That came out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's
So it
time
would
to
have been
go.
a different story if Brock would have been healthy. Which he was
Yeah, it's been a
healthy
little
until
bit different,
Hassan
but
got a
still.
hold of that arm. He was real fine until
Yeah,
Hassan got a hold of that arm. And,
man, it was okay
bruh,
until Sanders ran through. What's that middle backer that was supposed to be so tough? And he tapped out the first tackle, tapping out. They hitting, coach. I got to come to the sideline for a few. They hitting. I didn't know they was hitting like that.
Big
I just got
Bosa.
a question.
Hey,
No, it was
What
number
tackle did he make
54,
in the Super
the
Bowl? What tackle?
dreadlocks.
oh, I know you're talking. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then
What
Bosa
tackle?
tapped out. They was tapping out. I was like, these big and tough Niners are tapping out off the first
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
They don't want to go back to that game. That Hargraves need to go watch the game back himself. Like that first drive, we ran the ball straight down their throat. It might have been a little bit different. It wouldn't have been such a one-sided game. But even CMC, who once played quarterback, there was a poll going out. Could a regular average Joe throw for 10 yards in the NFL? I was like, no, because CMC couldn't throw for 10 yards. CMC was like, get me out of here, coach. These dudes are hitting.
Right. Oh, and Javon
Even Brock
Hargrave.
said, I can't go back in.
Man,
Javon Hargrave, this is what I need to say to you. So you say that the things would have been different if Brock Purdy would have still been in the game. That's what Javon Hargrave said. Javon, this is for you.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
sound like Freddie and then talking about hey, Austin Barnes 15 is the savior of the Lakers. That's what they sound like. Brock Purdy is going to save the 49ers. If the Niners don't get Lamar Jackson, they're going to be in the same predicament they were in last year. He's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. He did good, but now he got film. Now you got film, and that's a wrap. Every dude that has a little bit of shine, because nobody has film on them, that next year it's over with. So they better hope.
Different
They
ball.
better hope the other kid, it's not Love. It's they have another kid that got back there when they got rid of Jimmy G because they have what's the kid's name, Bryce or I forgot. Small school kid went to the same school as Carson Wentz.
You talking about what is that kid's name? I know you're
Lance.
talking about.
Lance is his name.
Yeah,
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance.
Yeah,
Is he North Dakota State?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean them guys limited, man. Them guys they look good in shirts and t-shirts, but when it's time to rock and roll, it's gonna take them about 3 or 4 years to get right. So the Niners are in a boatload of trouble.
Anthony Richardson.
Man.
And they lost some. They lost some folks on the defense. So
Yeah, they're gonna be in a situation where they're not gonna be as strong as they were last year.
Agreed.
Can I come back now? I'm sorry. I was just tripping. I was just trying to get relevant and get some likes and some takes.
nah, bro.
Philly fans don't play that, bro.
That's the new thing.
Philly
Get your
fans,
bag.
Yeah. Right. A couple other people y'all may or may not want to discuss, but just want to at least let everybody know who also left. QB Gardner Minshew, he went to the Colts.
Bye.
Hey man, I ain't mad about that.
Wide receiver Zach Pascal signed with the Cardinals, so he stays with our previous defensive coordinator.
We didn't give him the ball, so I don't blame him.
Right.
Offensive tackle Andre Dillard, he signed with the Titans. He was our left tackle, and then our right guard Isaac Samalu is our only guard who's not on the team from last year, and he went and signed for the bag with the Steelers. I'm gonna stop on that for a second and just say I'm not upset with him. I understand where you had to go. You went from being the fourth or fifth best lineman to the best lineman on your team. You got the bag for it, and I can't be upset with that. You can't have the most dominant offensive line in the NFL and not have somebody come and poach at least one guy away at some point. So I'm not upset about that, whatsoever. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that particular move either.
We got Lane Johnson and Kelsey, right? As we got Lane Johnson and Kelsey, I'm good. We can work around it as long as the leadership's still there.
Yep. Philly Eats, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in with us as well. And if you're in the comments, give us your opinion on these moves as well. Tell us what you think about who we lost, how you think it affects
Philly Eats.
Yes, sir.
Does Philly Eats have access to some cheesesteaks they can FedEx me?
That's a good question. That's a very good question, sir. You're gonna have to ask.
Don't laugh, Diva. It's real. My uncle sends me D'Alessandro's like once a year. FedEx overnight. It's still good.
D'Alessandro's is good.
That's right. I ain't even hating on you. Sounds like Philly me.
It's good. It is good.
I'm out here eating Jersey Mike's. Ain't the same, man.
Definitely the same. Hey, when I go to Jersey Mike's, I just get a chicken Philly. I don't even get the regular Philly because
the California Club. The California Club has turkey, avocado, bacon. Mike's way.
No, I'm good. I'm good up at
Club, bro. Not the California Club.
I'm out here getting bourgeois. My Uncle Chuck back in Philly, like, what you doing, man? I'm gonna send you a hoagie. I'm gonna send you a hoagie overnight. Make sure you get it. Don't let it sit outside all day. I'll tell you what, I kid you not. True story. Me and my buddy Phil Ward, we was roommates at UCLA, and I was craving some cheesesteaks. I said, hey, man, I'm gonna have my uncle overnight some cheesesteaks. He's like, for real? And the next morning they was out front, and I put them bad boys in the oven. We ate like kings that day, bro. I'm trying to tell you. We was talking mad junk to our teammates. Hey, man, we had some cheesesteaks. They like, man, get out of here. I was like, no, FedEx overnight. For real.
That's wild. So
change your life.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. Other losses at linebacker, we lost, of course, both of our starting linebackers. T.J. Edwards went to the Bears. Kaiser White went to the Cardinals. We also lost, of course, CJGJ, and then also we lost Marcus Epps to the Raiders. So you guys thoughts on those losses?
Go ahead, Diva.
Nah, I mean, Epps is always getting burnt. I mean, he had a couple, few highlights here and there.
Oh, that boy.
TJ, he had some
Yeah,
times
I'm
where
the
he
option
just act like
2.0.
he didn't know what was
Yeah,
going on.
man.
Like where Dallas was running, like you should have known that was a run play, bro. Like the way they. But nah, I'm glad they've gone and got what they need to get, and we can replace that.
We didn't make any plays in the Super Bowl. So I don't mind losing some interior dudes who were just holding the spot, reading
Ooh,
offenses and reacting and not making plays when they see it before they, say hike. You should have an idea what's happening. You shouldn't be reactionary to everything. You should have some type of idea. So we didn't have guys that were intellectually above par. They were regular dudes. And if we can get some guys that come in, I believe we signed somebody today at linebacker. I forgot who it was. I mean, we signed the safety as well. Bring guys in here that have a little bit of experience and want to get better. And coaching staff. I mean, it's not just the players. Sometimes the coaching staff can help. And I believe CJGG, GGI, CGI, CGGGI, whatever his name is, said it best. The coaches could have put us in a better position to make some plays. That is sometimes true. If we in
That
some
is
backwoods zone and we're not being aggressive, like what got us here was being aggressive. Sitting back and letting Mahomes throw is not the business to me. I make that dude make plays. And they didn't have Tariq Hill, anybody that can run that really that fast. So why are we so scared of them? And that was kind of making me mad a little bit. But, I'm on the sideline. I'm in the comforts of my own home in my couch and talking trash. I'm not sitting there calling plays. So I know how hard that can be. But you have to have a coaching staff that understands personnel. So hopefully they're bringing in guys that they can maximize their talents and not just put guys to plug and play. You got the great pass rush. Now you need to have the bad guys hold their own and make some plays on that good pass rush. I played a little bit. I had a cup of coffee playing the game. When I had a great defensive line, I can gamble because I know that ball's coming out. These quarterbacks scared to death. So we should be making more plays than we have been. So I hope the guys they bring in are playmakers and not just placeholders.
fair enough. So Philly Eat says, "Hi, Alyssa, I miss you." Philly says, "I'm hearing about possible Hurts contract extension." Yeah, that's been something
Oh, he's about to
that
get
we've been hearing
paid.
about. Yeah, he's about to
That's
get
what
that bag.
that's what all the movement's for. We got to make sure this man is happy and recruiting dudes. Hey, pay that man.
Yeah. And Philly says Philly Eats miss you too. Get that man a cheesesteak. Hey, Philly Eats, why you sending cheesesteaks? Um, me and Eagles Diva are both in North Carolina, so if you could slide us some, we would appreciate that as well.
sure
FedEx
would.
overnight.
You know what I'm saying? Philly Eats has the laugh. Philly hits the rolling laugh on us. Um,
Hmm.
my thoughts on the people we lost. I mean, it's not too much more that needs to be said after the AC. But what I will say is sometimes a system makes you look better than you are, and you can get in your head a little bit, have one good year, and all of a sudden you start smelling yourself, start getting a little hair on your sack, a little hair on your chest, and you feeling like you're a big dog. But then you go somewhere else and you get ran over, you realize you're a puppy, you need to get back on the porch. So some of you guys are gonna realize being in that system, having that line in front of you, it made you better. And some of these teams are gonna be upset with the money that you spent. But guess what? Until those years you can buy out, you stuck with them, and there's a reason. Think about this: the money that how we gave the guys that he brought back. There's a reason why these guys were not in conversations and why they were moving on to other teams. And think about that for all you teams that signed those gentlemen. Now, I'm not saying that they're horrible players, but like AC said, sometimes you fit when you have a great line and you know that there's not going to be a lot of time. But when you
Hey,
get to the biggest stage, and you can't cut it. We can talk about field conditions. We can talk about all that. We didn't even get one defensive turnover in that game. Not one.
Barely
We
got any
gave up
sacks.
one and couldn't even match just one.
Did we get a pass breakup? Did we get one pass breakup?
I
One
think we
pass
got.
breakup.
I think we got one or
Got
two.
one
One
sack.
PBU. Not one
I
fumble.
think
Not one interception.
one fumble,
Not
one
one
sack
sack.
on Mahomes, and no sacks in the second half at all on Mahomes.
And I think
So
that comes to coaching staff. I think that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know the footing was bad on the edges, so the defensive ends couldn't cut that corner like they usually do. Because I saw too many slips on that corner. And being a dad of a defensive end, I kind of know that's very important for a speed rush. So I kind of give them that little, but at that point, you got to start doing some games inside. Have them
mhm.
guys, stunt and do something that's a little bit different. Do something that you guys drew up. I know you
And I
got
feel
players
like
drew up.
and
It's
I
the
feel like
NFL.
we'll have this kind of stuff moving forward because I feel like who we brought in is going to take chances. I feel like a big part, and I said this all last year. The receipts is in any of the shows. You want me to pull them up, put them together, and give you a compilation? I can. I complained all year about Jonathan Gannon, how he sucked
Hmm.
as a coordinator, how we played too much soft zone.
He's the head coach now. Ain't that something?
But this is my thing. If you are as talented as a defense as you are, if your coach is not putting you in position to make plays at the biggest stage in the biggest game of the year, you mentally have to put yourself there. And they didn't do that either. And
Yeah.
Kansas had to play on that same field, and they were able to get stops. So it ain't no reason why them boys didn't get no stops. I know the field was sloppy, but both teams had to play, and they end up playing better. So at the end of the day, when you got that amount of talent on there, you still got to put yourself in the position to, even if your coach doesn't at the biggest stage, at the biggest game. Period. That's just my opinion.
That's gospel. That's why I'm still optimistic though. We still had a chance to win the game. Despite the negatives, we still had that boy number one back there dealing. And he said he wasn't hungry. He said he was starving. I can only imagine how hard he's gonna work now and how it's gonna be all business up in that locker room. Like that dude, as young as he is, if I was a veteran joining the team, I would be a little bit more intimidated by him than I would be a Fletcher Cox who had on a blouse at the press conference.
That's
So,
probably why we lost. Why we
hey
ain't do
man,
nothing.
you can't do that to your boys. You set the precedent. You set the tone. You got on your mama shirt. Got your mama shirt on at the press conference. I mean,
But
Yeah,
I ain't
speaking
against.
of,
yeah.
He got to answer to that, bro.
He,
I'm
I
all.
need, I need, I need to understand it for that. I completely agree. I need to understand why you
You
did
set
that.
you set the tone. We wearing blouses. That's what we doing. That's
he
what we
said,
doing.
and we were
Bro, I'm
I'm
soft.
all
sitting there
for.
watching that.
Yeah, that's
Now,
what he wore is what we displayed on that field that day.
I'm sitting there watching. All I can think is game blouses.
The
I'm like
game blouses.
blouses, and I'm like, no, that's not what we're supposed to be thinking right now. It's not what we're
You
supposed to be
all, you all want some pancakes?
thinking. Go purify yourselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. That's not what we're supposed to be going with this, bro. That's not.
I said,
That's not what's supposed to be
biggest,
happening.
meanest, nastiest D lineman we got. Fletcher Cox, come on out. Hey, bro, what you got on? This is my mama. She said it'd be nice, because Charles Wilson wears ascots. Nobody rocking the blouse. So I'm trying to bring it out and see, how everybody gonna feel. Bruh, I know Juju came out in the kilt. That's like a Scottish war. It had a little context to it. I'm gonna defend my man Juju from Long Beach. That's my guy, but he came out in the kilt, and I'm like, okay, explain, Juju. It's a war attire from back in the day. Okay, but that's not your heritage. You're Samoan and black. You come out with beads on and a spear. I can understand that. You came out in the kilt. Okay, explain that. But your cuss got on a blouse on. Oh boy,
So
here
you're
we
gonna wear
go.
a dress because you wear a blouse. That's basically what you're
Yeah,
saying.
guy. Hey, you gonna bring a knife
That's
and bring a gun? I'm bringing. I'm gonna bring a gun if you bring a knife.
hey man. I mean, you know how they go.
You
There's
come in
so
the
much
locker
that
room
can
with
be
a blouse.
said, but let's not even dwell on such tomfoolery. But
Man,
we did have a lot of signings that are going to help the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's go through some of those. So we'll start off. We'll do quarterback and running backs together. So for quarterback, we signed a backup Marcus Mariota to a 1 year deal. We also signed running back Rashad Penny to a 1 year, $1.35 million deal with 600,000 guaranteed. And then we re-signed Boston Scott to a 1 year, $2 million contract. So, what are you guys' thoughts? And AC, let's start with you this time, Big AC, on the backup QB and the running back re-signings.
I think it's wonderful. Marcus Mariota is a starter caliber backup, and that's what you want. Because there might be a game or two where Jalen Hurts might have an owie here, a little stinger there, and he might need a little bit of love. And you got Marcus Mariota, who's the same type of quarterback, just not as accurate with his arm, but he can run the offense. And he knows he's not getting that job. So the thing, like right now, with guys like Mariota and Cam Newton, guys that can actually start, what is the pressure they put on the starting quarterback? I think at this point in time, Mariota's not going to put any pressure on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has solidified himself as the quarterback of this team for the next 5 years. So for Mariota, it's a beautiful thing. He gets a chance to win a championship. He gets to be behind Jalen Hurts, and everybody understands that's what's going to happen. His value won't go down. Even if he gets no snaps, his value does not go down. Matter of fact, it might go up because at the end of the year, you might have the same situation they had in San Francisco with Purdy and the other kid. Everybody's heard from
Trey
in San
Lance.
Francisco, Trey Lance,
Yeah.
and then you still have Mariota. He's not that long in the tooth. He can come in and play quarterback. So you never know. So for him, he just extended his career by taking that. And Rashad Penny, we got him for peanuts. $1 million for a fullback slash running
600,000
back.
guaranteed.
Hey man, that's dealing, Howie Roseman. I appreciate you bringing in that depth. I believe we're probably gonna run Gainwell out there, Boston Scott, and then Penny, and you still have the three-headed monster. So you can't afford Derrick Henry. Next best bruiser out there is Penny. So I'm good with it, man.
Pennies for pennies. I love it. Diva, what you got?
So we finally got Chip Kelly's boy. Finally.
For a whole lot
Um,
less.
a whole lot less.
He would have cut him. Chip would have cut him.
I think Marcus Mariota can grow a lot here. I think he can develop very well under Jalen and just the QB coaching staff that we have. And Penny, I mean, what can you say? Like he is that big down south runner that we need. We need somebody that's gonna bulldoze through them holes and keep it running, kind of like LeGarrette Blount. Like that's what we need. We need that, and so adding him and him saying that Jalen call him because Jalen already know we about to run it back, and he know that he need a fullback slash running back like that to just bulldoze people down. Yeah, and we got some pennies. Yeah, like I mean, what can you say?
Especially if they're gonna outlaw the quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
I
First of
mean,
all, I don't think they're gonna get that done. I think they hating, but I don't think they're gonna be able to get it done. And even if they do, here's what I want them to realize: you still screwed. Jalen Hurts deadlifts like 800 pounds. This man got tackled in the end zone by Joey Bosa, who's supposed to be the man, big dude, tough dude. Bosa hit you, you going down, and ran
my
up out of the
pistol.
end zone before he fell.
Oh yeah.
You can't have no
He's a-
tree trunks. So whether they can push him from the back or not, 1 yard or less, he's getting that
Well,
safety. I mean,
but
so
the
you
problem was
can't get
we were getting 5 yards a pop. That's what the
yeah.
problem was.
So they want to take that away. So you can take away the five, but they
Now
can't
we're gonna
take
get
away.
two.
Yeah,
We're gonna
they
get
can't take away
two.
the two. So it is what it is. I love the Mariota signing as well. Biggest other thing I lamented all last season was you need to have a quarterback who plays the same style, so that when one goes out and the other comes in, no one has to adjust. Last year, you had Gardner Minshew, who is a more traditional quarterback. He has some mobility, but he's a traditional guy. We didn't really need that. What we needed was this guy. We needed another Mariota or somebody like that. So I love this signing. It's short, gives him a chance to rebuild his value. Of course, there's probably going to be one, maybe 2 games that Hurts sits out, maybe at the end of the year because we already got everything locked up, right? Just maybe like you said, maybe he gets stubs his toe, hurts his pinky on his throwing hand, and he just want to make sure he's good. But whatever the case may be, you've got a guy now that you can feel confident can play the same system. Is he going to play it like Jalen Hurts? Absolutely not. If he would be the starter. So but he's the same style. So nobody has to change the way they block. Nobody has to change the way they read. Wide receivers don't have to change the routes that they run. Everything can stay the same. RPO can actually be a weapon because we never thought Minshew was going to run. So what was the point of running the RPO? That's what we were running before. So all those things will be fixed. Penny for pennies. Love that. We needed that. That was the missing piece of bowling ball with feet, as the great Key Johnson said. And we needed that. So now that we have that, that's going to help. And we still can draft a running back, right? We still can draft a guy, but it's great to have three guys here who we know should give us a lot of what we need. So I'm excited about those signings. And of course, Boston Scott, the giant killer himself, never anything bad to say about that man. That man
Baby
comes out there and puts
Sproles.
it on the field.
Baby Sproles
And
Jr.
that's what. All right, so of course we re-signed, and I just lump these guys together, right? So we re-signed Jason Kelsey to a 1 year deal for about 14 million. We re-signed Fletcher Cox to a 1 year $10 million deal. Brandon Graham to a 1 year deal of 6 million. Bradbury for a 3 year $38 million deal, 20 million guaranteed, max of 44 with incentives. And Darius Slay to a 3 year $42 million deal through 2025, 23 million guaranteed at signing. So, guys, what are your thoughts on those people that we re-signed? Go ahead, Diva.
I'm glad we signed all of our vets back. You still need vets on the team to show the new players that's coming in and upcoming players, you know what I'm saying, that's coming in and to guide them. A lot of people was like, yeah, Slay can go, but I mean, Slay is, for one, he was the head on the defense. He's the captain. Slay's been in the league for a very long time, and he might have digressed a little bit, but Slay knows how to teach these corners how to be corners, and so I'm glad that we were able to keep that key piece. And I'm always glad that Fletch and Kelsey came back because we do need that in our line. And so I'm just happy we was able to sign those, especially Bradbury, because I was really worried that we weren't gonna be able to sign him because he wanted more money, but we were able to get that signed. So at least we're able to keep a lot of our D that we needed.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big culture guy, like locker room culture and the way things are ran. That's why the Patriots were good for so long. They have Tom Brady and Willie McGinnis in the locker room, Debo and everybody, and they had a way of doing things. Um, you got Kelsey and Cox and Graham, and you got your corners as bookends, and your quarterback solidified, running back solidified, receiving core, arguably the best in the league. You have your foundation. You have to add pieces, and they got to come in here and get to work the way these guys get to work. That's why I'm so confident, man. Like if our quarterback was wishy washy and there was rumblings that people didn't like him in the locker room, I'd be worried. But
Carson Wentz.
I haven't heard nothing of the sorts. Remember when we got Namdi Asamoah and we thought he was going to bring something, and we found out he was a phony.
Burnt toast.
Man, I was just kind of like, I'm happy Bradbury. I know the big play in the Super Bowl he was holding. I held every cornerback holds, and then if you get in a double, triple route, and the coach is prepping the referees to call something, they're gonna call something. And I believe with all my heart that referee was prepped to call that. My man's running a fire route and a wheel. He's gonna grab him. Watch this, ref. And it happens all the time. I put it on my podcast. I showed a clip of how Shanahan does it all the time in San Francisco. So I'm glad we got veterans at the cornerback spot because this is becoming a receiver-driven league. Every receiving core now has 3 and 4 guys, and if you don't have the outside guys locked up, and you bring in some young guys who don't know what's happening, you got some veterans like Slay and Bradbury that can guide those guys. Like Diva said, we're gonna have some problems. So it helps, and it works both ways. If you guys that can cover, the D line can get to the quarterback. If the D line can get to the quarterback, guys can make plays. So I like where we are. I'm glad we signed these guys. I'm glad they're making room to pay Jalen now and not wait. Because him being a second round pick, they had a little bit more cushion to wait. They wouldn't be as pressured as they are with Lamar Jackson up in Baltimore. But at the same time, do the right thing by this man. Because when you take care of yours, veterans will want to come play here. And that's where my thing is. Let's take care of ours and let's keep it rolling. We got a good 3 to 5 year window right here with this group. Now, Kelsey's going to retire next year. Let's have a great season for him going
Cam
on his
Jurgens.
way out. And
Get rid of Cam
you know,
Jurgens.
they're all going on their way out, right? This is it. So let's have a good one, man. So I'm glad they're here. I'm glad they're here to stay for this season for sure. And let's see what happens.
Yep. I love the all the signings back. Of course, like talked about. I hope we draft the defensive lineman in the first 2 rounds. I want to go ahead and get somebody in here, get them working with the guys that we already have. To kind of start to build back up that strong rotation that we had last year. So I want us to start doing that with that mix of young and old guys. Right? We've got Milton Williams, of course, is still here. We've got several other guys are still here. But let's go ahead and add one more to the mix. It doesn't have to be the first pick in the first round. It can be the second pick in the first round. It could be a second rounder. There's been talk that we might move back in the draft a couple of spots and pick up some extra draft capital, something like that. For corner, I want another corner too. Doesn't have to be a first or second round pick, but I want another corner that can learn at the feet of 2 of the best corners in the NFL, so that, like when you talk about in 2 to 3 years, Slay's kind of moving on out either to another team or out of the league. When he's 35, 36 years old, there's a guy that has learned for a couple of years that knows how to play that position that can fill that role, so that we don't have another one of those situations that we've had in the past where our young corners are trash with us and they go other places and are a lot better, like Rasul Douglas, who we should never let get out of the building, by the way. So I definitely want to see that. Obviously, we have some holes still at safety, and just the entire group of corner, right? The entire defensive back sort of setup. But these fill holes. Leadership, of course, locker room guys, veterans, guys that understand what it is to play in Philadelphia, the culture, guys that are willing to take young guys under their wing and say, hey, I don't have much time left to play. So come learn while I'm here, because I'm not going to be here forever. Kelsey's done that with Cam Jurgens. So that's why I say, like, Cam Jurgens, next year is your year, buddy. So be ready. Like, learn at his feet, listen to everything. Any opportunities that you get out there and perform the best you can. Get some game action. Hurts, get familiar with him, because it's going to be a guy. But these are things where there's going to be a little bit of a transition, I think, in the next 1 or 2 years with the Eagles. But I completely agree with Big AC. There's a window there for about 5 years where we can do a lot of damage, right? Another thing that I won't go into detail, but I'll mention is it would be great if we were to move on from Quez Watkins and draft a wide receiver. Right?
Yeah, that drop hurts. That one drop.
No,
And it
he was
wasn't.
PI'd on. He was PI'd on that specific drop.
Still got to catch it.
But you still got to catch it, because they only call it if you have on certain colors.
Man, it's like Kawhi Leonard. It's like Kawhi Leonard's foul last night. Sometimes they're just not gonna call it, man.
Right, it is what it is. You got to be prepared. So we did have a couple of new additions that we'll take some time to discuss. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to be well versed in these guys, but at least the guys that we brought in. So we brought in linebacker Nicholas Morrow.
Bears.
From the Bears.
Yeah.
Yep. He's 6 foot, 225 pounds. He plays well. He moves well. He's a guy who could fill a spot at linebacker if needed, but I think he's more of a fringe starter, maybe a depth guy, maybe a guy who saw an opportunity here because of what we lost and decided I'm gonna move on over and try my luck with this specific organization. And I'm not mad at him for it. I would have done the same thing, seeing that we do need, some people at that position.
How much did he get?
So Morrow got.
He got much.
I think he's coming to start, because I don't think you would leave a situation in Chicago to come be depth, because he had 117 tackles, right? I mean, he led the team in tackles.
You're right. This is the guy with the tackles. You're right. I'm thinking of the other guy. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, Morrow. Yeah, he's coming to start. He's got a 1 year deal. He's coming to start definitely. So he's coming to be a bridge guy for us, worst case, until we can get to our next guy. You are correct,
a draft pick guy that can follow.
Yes, sir.
Follow the lead of Graham. But Graham has had his hand on the ground lately, huh? He's not standing up anymore.
Right.
He's more of a defensive end edge rusher.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We got
you're
a
right.
we got a safety too, right?
We did. We'll
Yeah,
definitely
Justin
get to him
Evans.
as well, sir. Yep, Justin Evans. So
He's
any
a
other
ball hawk.
thoughts? He is. Any other thoughts on Morrow, you guys?
If he can make tackles and if he can read a few plays and make some tackle for loss, that's a plus. But you got a 1 year deal. You got something to prove. So hopefully he plays that way. And the safety, I believe he's a ball hawk, and that's kind of what we're missing. I mean, like I said, big hits are a thing of the past. We need guys that can get that ball.
Any thoughts, Duke?
No, I'm just glad that we were able to sign him. He's very versatile, and I remember seeing him play a lot when we played them. He kind
Mm-hmm.
of did impede our offense a little bit when we played the Bears. So yeah, I'm
Definitely believe
happy
that.
about that. That we're kind of able to replace what we lost with exactly what we lost.
Yep. Now also we signed cornerback Greedy Williams. I believe he's a bigger guy. If I remember correct, he's like 6'2", 6'2" and a half. Good arms. 4-year player from LSU. He's only 25. Some injuries, right? Injuries have been a thing for him. But as far as play itself, when he has played, he's played solid. I think he's a guy that can do for us what Chauncey Garner Johnson did last year. A guy that may be able to come in and play both of those positions. Maybe like we have a situation like we did last year where our third corner gets hurt, which seems to be happening a lot lately. He may be a guy that can come in and play that as well as play safety because a lot of times we use our free safety actually like another cover guy, right? Because like you talked about, there's not a lot of big hits anymore. AC, there's a lot
Hmm.
more coverage, hands on the ball, being able to make quality tackles, try to rip the ball out, all those things. Those are things a converted cornerback are going to be good at.
Yep.
So I think he's another guy, and not necessarily will, but he's a guy that could, if needed, play that role. And he can also be in that cornerback rotation. So when we're going a set, we want to have an extra corner on the field in one of the safety positions. He's somebody we could look at, for that as well. So I think Greedy Williams is a good 1 year signing for us. Very excited about that move because it does give me a lot of shades of the CJGJ move, and he can be used the same way. We saw that it was successful last year, so why not bring in another guy that may be able to fill that role?
Yeah. I mean, you figure, like I said, the culture is what it is. I don't think that's going to change. So when guys come in, nobody got to come in there like show enough, trying to regulate and say who's now the grandmaster. None of that going to happen. The
Right.
culture is what it is. We go into the NFC Championship game at the least. So don't come in here set tripping. Get with the program and let's roll. I'm not sure where you came from. You came from Chicago. Y'all don't win no games. We win games here, and it's a little bit different. So get with the program.
And we do love corners from corner slash safeties from New Orleans, which we will get
Yeah.
to in a minute. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, man. Eagles Diva, any thoughts?
I'm kind of excited about Greedy. One thing I would want him to do is put a little more weight on, a little more muscle.
You know,
But
thin.
other than that, yeah, he a little thin, but yeah, he put on a little bit more muscle. I think he really could just some
Say,
future.
say with your chest, Steven. He need a little more booty. You bring a little more wagon to the chest.
He needs some of that too. He needs some muscle in them
He ain't got
arms and
no
stuff.
booty.
Butt back
He
there.
ain't filling up the pants. That whistle britches over here. You need to put some booty on it. Get in the weight room and hit the squats. Hit some lunges. You ain't enough backside, bro.
He needs some
Your
protein. A
pants
lot
ain't.
of.
Yeah, yeah. You need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Some strawberry
He needs
milk.
some milk. Some
You need
milk.
some milk. You need a BBL. He go get his butt done. You get a BBL for the brothers.
So Philly says
Oh,
that she'll hook us up,
He'll,
Diva.
he'll
And
hook
then
us up. Oh
she says
man.
have a great night, and she'll be back next week as well. Before we end, of course, we still got a little bit of time, right? Because we started a little bit late tonight. Also, now we can go ahead and I'm gonna let Big AC set this one off. We're gonna talk about Justin Evans, the safety, and again, we love safeties from the New Orleans Saints.
I
What you got,
mean,
Big AC?
I don't have a lot. You know what? What you've been brought in for. It's not no secret. We just need ball players that make plays. I mean, I don't necessarily have a sheet and breakdown of the young man, but like I said, anybody we brought in is a reason why we brought him in. And if we saw a standard of play, history of making these type of plays in college or whatever, and he's coming from New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So with him, he played in 2017 and 2018. 2019 and
He was out,
2020, he was out
He
due
was
to an
hurt.
Achilles injury.
right? So
And
you're
then
never the
2020,
same.
yeah, and then 2021 he sat out. And then he came back in 2022 and he looked a lot like the previous version of himself. He only started like 4 games this year, but he had 17 solo tackles, 12 assisted tackles, um, played well, uh, decently graded in coverage,
Yeah,
but he showed the mobility and everything that he had previously. So I think maybe that break in his specific situation, because it all depends on the person, how your body heal, how you play, the drive, all those things we already know about.
Your mental,
But
your
I think
mental.
he,
it's mental,
yeah,
man. It's so
yeah. So I
mental,
think he
man.
was
Like
ready,
Achilles.
and I think he's good. So I think he's a guy that's going to be helpful for us, to bring in.
I don't like. Again, I don't expect anything except a huge breakout season for any of these dudes to really move the needle.
Hmm.
Tackles don't really impress me in the secondary. That's a must. You have
Passes
to be able to
defended.
tackle. Yeah, I want to see you make some plays, pass breakups and interceptions, and no touchdowns given up. Like I have some kids that I'm working with, and they like kind of put this on my highlight. No, that's a routine play. I don't want to see you tackling somebody. I don't want to see you just making a tackle. Like everybody makes tackles. I want to see you make a big play. Like whenever I hear a scout say, "Yo, put your best 5 plays at the front of your highlight tape for your kids you bring out," they don't want to see no tackles. They want to see interceptions and pass breakups and forced fumbles. Like if you that ball better come out. CJG, CTGI. So I'm glad we got the young man. I'm glad he's back on top, but it takes 2 years to get mentally over that injury. It makes a patella tendon and an Achilles are worse than an ACL as far as
Yes.
mentally believing that you're back. I mean, Kobe Bryant came back from Achilles, rare case. We still saw
AD.
how that patella tendon destroyed Tony Parker and it destroyed Victor Cruz because you never get that confidence and that comfort that leg is okay. So hopefully this young man has that mental block out of his mind that Achilles was still an issue. If he can move past that, he can make plays like he did in college and high school. If not, he'll
He
be a
just,
regular guy making tackles.
What you got, Diva?
I'm glad. Well, I mean, we got to see what he do, but just seeing some of his prior stats and film that I have seen, he does look like he's a breakup pass kind of guy, an actual tackler who actually wraps the people up. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a lot of missed tackles where we wasn't wrapping anybody up. And I've seen a few
God,
plays
yes.
where he's actually got in and forced his hand to force the ball out. So as long as he is mentally prepared coming back and it looks like his body is in the physical shape, but as long as his mind is there, I feel like he can be what we need him to be, and we could probably be the team that can help him get back to where he was for a little bit of time that he's there. So
Is he going to be a difference maker like a Tyron Matthew type of guy, though? Is he going to be that kind of guy? That's what I'm like. We're going to keep signing these guys. Are we going to find a guy that's going to make a difference? That's what my thing is. Who's going to be that guy? The safety position,
So
linebacker.
I think Justin Evans is going to, at least for now, probably slate in as a backup, right? As a project guy. He may come in, he may be really good, and he may overtake whoever's the starting strong safety.
There's no longer
But I think
CGI.
it's definitely not CGI, CMC, CGI, none of that. But
The acronym. I don't know. It's computer
the
generated
OG
intelligence.
ain't playing no games. The OG ain't playing no games. But I think like
CGI.
The biggest thing I see is we talk a lot about like guys that laugh at, oh, what are we gonna do? But let's not forget we got a guy named Reed Blankenship who played last year, had time, and was able to do his thing, right? So we see that.
Hello.
We see that we have that. We have other guys. We're not in a situation where there's nobody left. We're not in that situation. We signed some free agents to some of those same positions. We have guys on the team that can step up. That's what they're paid for. That's what they were there for. You went out and may had a great draft last year, so that when you came into this season, knowing that some of those guys were going to leave, a lot of them, possibly all of them, we knew what was going to happen. It's happening. Stop freaking out and let's make the right moves. We continue to do that. Draft the right guys, play smart. Let's still time in free agency. Let's make it happen.
Well, we always said we were ahead of schedule, right? With Jalen Hurts, we were ahead of schedule. They said we were 2 or 3 years out. The team made it to the Super Bowl, man, and we were a few plays away from winning the whole thing with this group, this core group. So I think we're still in a good spot. Again, you did not lose key pieces. I mean, I hate losing Sanders, but Gainwell made that happen. So we'll be all right. We're in a good spot.
Yep. Have a good one, Philly. So if you're seeing this here live, if you're seeing the replay, one quick announcement, then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Starting with our April 26th episode. That's going to be our 1 year anniversary episode. The Eagles Elite podcast is also going to be streamed on Shady Sports Network. Shady Sports is a all football network. So all they focus on is football. They do a lot of IFL, XFL, some of those other leagues besides just the NFL. They do some NFL shows as well, but I think this will be a great thing for this show as well as for that network. So we're going to be doing, some streaming the show on there as well. So everybody can look forward to. It's going to be some changes, a couple of upgrades going to be happening to the show. So be ready for that. But just a little something I wanted to go ahead and let our loyal community know about. So be prepared for that. Be ready for that, and be on the lookout for that. More to come in the next few weeks. But like I said, we building over here. We Eagles. We elite. We always going to be elite. This is your spot. I'm not talking about other spots. This is your spot to hear about the Philadelphia Eagles. Who else going to take an hour, drop it with you, and really go into details on what we got going on, what moves we made, what moves we haven't made. Tune in next week. Top 10 cornerbacks, Eagles history. And we might talk a little draft because it is coming around pretty quickly, right? So we might start talking about that. Some of the things we might want to see, positions, different things like that. Eagles Diva, did you have any final words that you wanted to drop?
Mm-mm. Be easy. And don't panic. We got this.
Yep. Always remember one thing, y'all.
But the cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we are the cream.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We know sweet brother Noomsy Samoa will not be at the top of my list next week. My sweet brother Noomsy could not play man-to-man defense. Sweet brother Noomsy couldn't play cover 2. Sweet brother Noomsy could not play 1-0 coverage. Sweet brother Noomsy was burnt toast. Hey man, I appreciate you having me on, man. You can check me out AC Sports Live on Tuesday nights on Empire, on my channel AC Sports Live on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. I'm trying to figure out this TikTok thing. It's for the young folks. I'm a little bit long in the tooth for TikTok, but I gotta do it. Everybody's on there. I guess it's the thing to do. So I'm gonna try my best to see if I can figure it out. But in the meantime, man, fly.
Absolutely. And hashtag be elite. Hashtag fly Eagles fly. This is the spot.
Eagles fly.
What we do. We didn't even drop the intro today because we got into things. But guess what? You got to see it on the way out. Holler at your folk next week.
The kick is away. And the kick is... It's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.